All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Welcome to CNS Connect webinar series. My name is Amy Smith, and I am the Certification Programs Coordinator for the BCNS and the ANA. And today I am joined by Sunny Brigham, who's going to share her expertise on how to use social media to build your business. A couple of announcements before we get started. If you have a question, make sure you put it in the Q&A or the chat, and we'll get to it as they come up. If you are a CNS, you can earn 1 CEU for today's presentation under the category number 5, professional development category. Just keep in mind that this category does not require nutrition content, and you're limited to 10 CEUs in this category per recertification period. So like I mentioned, if you have any questions, just put them in the chat. So we will get started. Sunny is a clinical nutritionist as well as a business coach, BCNS supervisor with the Nutrition and Herbal Collective, and an adjunct professor at MUIH. Sunny specializes in thyroid and Hashimoto's disease. Sunny has her master's in nutrition, as well as a bachelor's or post-bachelor certificate in herbal studies and an MBA. Sunny enjoys helping new nutritionists learn about nutrition, build their private practice, and see them soar. Prior to becoming a nutritionist, Sunny spent 20 years in the U.S. Air Force. Sunny is married with three grown children, has 3 dogs, and enjoys traveling the world. So let me stop sharing. I will let Sunny take over.
Awesome, thanks. Okay, so let me start my show and then I can share. Thanks everyone for joining us. Amy and I were just talking about how Fridays may or may not have been the best time to do this. I think I probably would not have joined a webinar on a Friday afternoon. So I apologize for that because I chose the time. All right. So as Amy said, I am Sunny, and thank you so much for joining. As we go on, if you have any questions, definitely pop them in the chat or in the Q&A, and I will answer them as I see them come through. If I miss one, I apologize. Amy's going to help keep me accountable on that. But I want you to ask questions as you have them so that we can kind of address them while we're talking about that specific topic. This is a topic that I can definitely get into the weeds on. So if I go a little off tangent or I'm a little heavy in my slides, definitely apologize. I apologize in advance, and we'll catch up with the slides. All right, so let's get started. So this is all about how to use how to use social media to build your business. Okay, so to start, before you can really have or determine, how you're going to use social media or what social media platform you are really going to focus on or put your time, energy, and effort into, you need to first understand where your audience is spending their time at. So for instance, and I'll explain a little bit more of this later, but if you're putting all of your energy and effort into posting on Instagram, but all of your audience, the people that you are specifically trying to target, is over on Facebook, or they are super users of Reddit, then you might be spending all of your time not really getting in front of the people that you want to get in front of. So the very first thing that you need to do, and this isn't a discussion on ideal clients or target market or target audience or anything like that, but I just want to preface it with, you need to understand your audience, and you need to understand where is it that they hang out on their spare time when they're up at night and they can't sleep because they're stressed about their health, the state of their health, or the symptoms that they're having, and they feel like they're not being heard or listened to, and they're laying in bed Googling their symptoms or how to help themselves on their phone. Where are they doing that at? Are they searching Facebook groups? Are they on Instagram? Are they following, influencers or other physicians or naturopaths? Are they in Reddit forums or rooms? Are they on TikTok? Are they searching Pinterest? So it's important first and foremost to understand where your audience is going to be. After you understand where your audience is, then we can talk about social media. So first and foremost, that's what you need to do. And like I said, that's not what this, chat is about today. So make sure that you understand that first and foremost. I put a couple of abbreviations here in the corner for you, and you'll see these kind of abbreviated on the slides, but ICA is ideal client, SM is social media, and KLT is know, like, and trust. All right, so this is what we are going to chat about today. So we're going to do a social media overview. Which platform should you focus on? I kind of gave you a little hint already. free versus paid engagement and advertising. And I'll share my own personal thoughts and feelings about that. Why it's important to have a strategy, different scheduling software options, because I am a huge fan of batching your content to save your sanity. We'll talk a little bit about Facebook groups and the pros and cons of those and how to set one up if you're interested in that. And then going live on Instagram or Facebook and if there are any benefits of doing so. All right, so when to use social media. So not every business actually needs to use social media. There are a lot of really thriving businesses out there that are not on social media at all, don't have a social media presence. And that's perfectly okay. I would say that's probably not the norm. I would say that's more of an exception to the rule. A lot of newer businesses really need to utilize some type of social media platform, if anything else, to get word of mouth out there. If you think about it, and I know I do this too, if you're looking for like a new restaurant or a new place to eat, go out for a date night or with friends, and usually for me personally, I will look to see what people in my neighborhood have recommended. And then usually before I even go to that place, I want to see what their food looks like. So if they don't have any photos on their menu, I go to their social media accounts, because more often than not, restaurants are going to post photos of their food to try to entice people in. So I want to read reviews. I want to see what other people are saying. I want to see, what their food looks like. So I kind of stalk them a little bit on social media before I actually step foot into this restaurant. I don't do it every time. I mean, sometimes I do actually walk into a place without looking at social media first. But you have to understand that that's kind of the culture that we're in today, whereas a lot of people do that, not just myself. And so you want to have some sort of a social media presence, if nothing else, a place to capture reviews or to let people know, hey, I'm here. Here's how you can get more information, or here's where you can go to learn more about me. So you want to have a little bit of a presence out there. They work both for brick and mortar businesses, which is if you have an office that you can walk into, or virtual practices or virtual businesses or hybrids. I would say that, just in my own personal opinion, is that virtual businesses really need to lean on social media a lot, especially if you want to get reach outside your local area. It's a very easy and free way to get reach outside of your local area. Whereas just having a sign out front of your office, or people are walking into other businesses around your office and they see your sign and they're intrigued, so they start Googling. Those are the types of businesses that probably need less social media influence, but it is still very helpful. I feel it's a must if you intend to grow your business online and be primarily online. So if you intend to be 100% virtual and you want to have a wide expanding reach, you definitely want to have an online or a social media presence. And it's a really great way to allow people to get to know you before they sign up for your services. And that's where that know, like, and trust comes in. People need to feel that warm and fuzzy about somebody that they're going to divulge their health secrets to, or talk about their health problems with. They need to feel comfortable with somebody first. And it takes about a year from the time that somebody is introduced to a practitioner via social media or online to the time that they actually set up an appointment. There's exceptions to every rule. I've had people that learn about me and 5 minutes later they book an appointment. But for the majority of people, they need to feel that you are the person for them, especially if they have already paid money to other practitioners, or they've been to several doctors and they feel like they just continually get the runaround, and they're just kind of over the health profession, and they're kind of in their own little investigative phase. If it's those types of individuals, which there are quite a few of, those are the people that are going to definitely need a lot more nurturing before they schedule any type of appointments with you, or book any of your programs, or purchase any group coaching or anything like that from you. And this is like what I talked about earlier. So the best platform is wherever your ideal client is. When I first started getting on social media, I went straight to Facebook because that's what I was most comfortable with. Even though I fit in the age of people that should be on Instagram, I really don't like Instagram. It's just not my jam. And I also fit into that age of people that are on TikTok, but I scroll through TikTok, but I never really post to TikTok. What it means is it's not really what I want, right? It's not what I'm comfortable with, and it's not what I use. It's what our clients use. So just a little bit here of how to choose it is, one, you need to understand who your ideal client is. Are you focusing on symptoms? Are you focusing on specific diseases? What age group? Are their genders? Are their families? What do those families look like? So you need to kind of understand the group of people that you want to serve in your community and what that looks like. And then you can develop a fake client, which is it's just this fictitious person or group of people, and you can give them a name, and you can give them an age, and you can give them an occupation as you start to develop what this person or this group of people look like, so that anytime you create a post on social media, it should be for this person. You should think, if I created, my person is Jose, and every time I create a post, I should think, is this what Jose would want? How would Jose use this information to help him along in his health journey? So I should be asking myself those questions whenever I create a post, so that I'm not just posting something random, or, oh, I haven't posted in 4 days, I should probably throw something up there. It needs to speak to that ideal client, that group or the person or group of people that you want to try to reach. It's always good to conduct some interviews. You can do some anonymous surveying or polling. You can use Google Forms and send them out to friends or family, or post them on social media and try to get some responses that way. I often will tell people to create a Google form, make it anonymous, and post it in a Reddit forum that is specific to the symptoms or conditions or group of people that you are trying to reach. And just ask them. This is 100% anonymous. It takes 5 minutes. I would love it if I could just get your feedback. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is what I'm trying to understand. And you will be surprised at the number of responses that you get, but it gives you a lot of information on their primary struggles, what they're really looking for, because what we think they're looking for may not actually be what they're truly looking for. So it gives you a lot of insight into their thought processes, what they're focused on, and what they need from us as practitioners to help them actually get over these hurdles that they have. And then one question that you can always ask on that anonymous survey is, what's your favorite social media platform? Or where do you spend the majority of time when you're on social media? Is it Reddit? Is it Facebook? Is it Facebook groups? You can even ask, if you are searching for health related information, what's your go-to source? Is it Google? Do you like stuff from Pinterest? Where do you go? And are there any influencers, doctors, naturopaths, other nutritionists, dietitians, health coaches, anything like that that you follow to gain your information from? Because that'll give you an idea of, one, where they're hanging out, two, the types of information they really like to see, and three, what you can utilize for your own strategy. And essentially, whatever the answer is, where they hang out is where you should be posting your social media content, where you should be focusing your time, energy, and effort into when it comes to social media. Okay, so let's talk about some free options. So like I mentioned before, there are some paid options, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But you want to create a posting strategy, and you want to stick to it. And I'll show you what a social media strategy looks like here in a few minutes. Going live on Instagram or Facebook consistently feeds into the algorithm, and it tells both Instagram and Facebook that you are a very active account, and it prioritizes people that, so your account is shown more frequently the more lives that you do. And when you're currently live, if you've ever been scrolling through reels or lives on Instagram or Facebook, if you are currently live, your live will show up as people are scrolling. So you'll actually have a wider reach outside of the people that follow you only. And then creating a Facebook group to grow your following. And we're going to talk about each of these individually. So some paid options, you can do some ads on Facebook and Instagram. You can set up and schedule on Facebook for Instagram. So everything for Facebook and Instagram is actually done through Facebook. You can spend as little as $1. You can go all the way up to $10,000 a day. Big brand companies like Nike and HuffPost and makeup companies and things like that. Those are the ones that are going to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars a day doing paid advertising on social media. I never recommend doing any type of paid advertising unless, one, you've spoken to somebody that has a lot of experience doing this, or two, you've taken some type of course or class to help guide you, because it's a massive undertaking. If you do one little thing incorrectly, you're going to waste a whole bunch of money without ever getting in front of the people that you're trying to get in front of. This is not my first, second, or even my 10th recommendation when it comes to utilizing strategy for social media to build your business. You can do it 100% free without having to pay for any type of advertising. Yes, Danielle says, so in a nutshell, we have to do lives to get seen. You don't have to, but does it really help? Absolutely, it does. And I'm going to give you some tips on how to make it like really easy so that you can get a little bit more comfortable doing it. It is super scary. It gets a whole lot easier though. Okay, so you do need a strategy when posting on social media. Otherwise, you're missing the mark of what the followers want. And oh my goodness, it will drive you insane, because you'll think every Sunday or Monday, I have to plan out my posts for the week or what I'm going to do. If you have a strategy and you know what that strategy is, you can create all of your posts for an entire month or an entire quarter in a matter of an hour to 2 hours. And then you can create and schedule them in a second sitting in a matter of an hour to 2 hours. So in 4 hours, you've done an entire quarter's worth of social media. And the only thing that you have to do at that point is answer anybody's questions. If people comment on it, you always, always, always want to make sure that you respond to their comments. Don't leave comments unresponded to. So if you do anything on Instagram, there's a lot of the spammers with you should try Dr. So-and-so's herbs. It healed my HIV. So all of this weird stuff that people post, you should still respond to those, even if it's just like an interesting or an emoji or something like that. But you want to make sure that you respond to every comment that you get, because again, that feeds into the algorithm that you are a very active account. Just posting doesn't feed into that algorithm. So you want to determine how frequently you want to post first. Ideally, 1 to 2 times daily is where you should post. You don't necessarily have to post on the weekend. Monday through Friday is perfectly fine. Some people do Monday through Saturday, and some people do all 7 days. Some people do twice a day or 3 times a day, but at least once a day, Monday through Friday, is the frequency that you really want to post on social media. You want to start with creating some pillars. These pillars are what you pull from to get ideas of what you're going to post and how you're going to post things. And those pillars are things that feed into what your ideal client wants or needs from you. So for instance, because I work with women that have Hashimoto's, my pillars, and I gave them here for you, are body transformation. This is not body transformation in the sense of weight loss. This is body transformation in the sense of the symptoms that they deal with most frequently, whether it's joint pain or fatigue or hives is something that I've talked about in the body transformation, post-nasal drip, chronic cough, any of the symptoms that they might have, whether it's from digestive issues, stress-related, or autoimmune related. Habit creation, so how to create habits to help implement these little things that we might talk about, mindset, supplements and herbs, and intuitive eating. And for me, I felt mindset was really important because weight gain is a really common side effect with Hashimoto's, and it takes an emotional toll on people that have Hashimoto's disease and have put on as much as 30 or 50 pounds in a short period of time. So they get very focused on the weight and they get really concerned about the weight. And they're not really focused on healing their bodies or all the other things that they need to do to help support their disease. So I talk about mindset a lot with them, about shifting that mindset of let's not focus so much on the weight. Let's focus on all of the stuff that's really important to get your body better aligned so that then you can focus on the weight and be in a healthier space to attack it. Supplements and herbs, and then intuitive eating. So these are my pillars that I always pull things from. So if I'm looking for a topic, I might say, okay, well, I haven't posted habit creation in the last 5 days. So let me pull a habit in real quick that I could talk about for this particular day. So come up with pillars, 3 to 5 pillars that are going to work for you, and you rotate the pillars. So as you come up with your calendar, so for instance, I have 5 pillars. I have 5 things that I can post about Monday through Friday. So on Monday, I could post something about a symptom that is pretty common with Hashimoto's disease. And then on Tuesday, I can post something about habit creation. So how to create or how to, include a healthy snack, tips to increase vegetables in your diet, how to increase your water without feeling like your eyeballs are floating. So just little tips and tricks here and there. Wednesday could be mindset, Thursday could be supplements and herbs, and then Friday could always be talking about intuitive eating. So those are what my pillars are look like. So like I said, you want to come up with your pillars and how they feed into the population, and they should be what your population is looking to achieve and how you can pull out information from those pillars. You distribute your pillar content throughout the month. So I would go body transformation, habit creation, mindset, supplement, herbs, intuitive eating, start it all back over again with body transformation, habit creation, mindset, supplement, herbs, intuitive eating. I would continue to cycle through those over and over and over again. If I skipped a day because I either took time off of social media because it was holidays or I was out of town and I already had that kind of scheduled in there, I would just pick up where I left off. So if I usually went, Monday was body transformation, Friday was intuitive eating, but then I took 2 weeks off of work and then I started posting again on a Friday, that Friday would be body transformation. So it just kind of cycles through like that. You can have a personal pillar, especially if you can personally relate to your audience. I don't have Hashimoto's, I don't have hypothyroidism, I've never had any of those issues, but I know how to treat or help women and men that have those conditions. And so while I can't personally relate to them, I don't have a personal pillar. But let's say I really struggled with fertility and I was able to, balance my hormones and really support my body as I went through my fertility journey as I tried to conceive. And now that is who I've decided that I want to support. I can create a personal pillar where every time that personal pillar comes up, I share a little snippet of my life and what helped me, or something that lets them know that I get them. I hear them, I empathize and sympathize with them. I've been there. I know what it's like. I've walked those shoes before, walked that street before. I know, I can relate to you. So if you want to have a personal pillar, you certainly can. And then you can have themes under those pillars to help you out as you're coming up with information. And I'll talk here in a second about themes. So themes, so you've got your pillars and your themes really just go with the day of the week, because the hardest thing to do, or what prevents a lot of people from posting on social media, aside from the feeling like they don't have any good boundaries, I get on there to post some things and I'm, 20 minutes, I've been scrolling my news feed and now I'm upset because I read 3 things that somebody else posted. And now I'm in like a political rant and I've read 250 comments on a neighborhood post, whatever it is. We have to make sure that we have those good boundaries, but we want to have themes. The themes will help us understand, what do I want to post each day of the week? And if you have those themes, when you sit down to batch your content, it makes it so much easier as you're trying to come up with the things that you want to post. So for instance, again, my pillars are body transformation, habit creation, mindset, supplement, herbs, and intuitive eating. I would pick a pillar, and you can apply a pillar to a day, like I mentioned before. You can apply a pillar to a week. You can apply a pillar to an entire month. They are your pillars. You can do what you want with them. I most often use the pillar for a week, but you can do whatever feels good to you. And the reason that I used a pillar for a week is because I created a new blog every week, and that blog related to that pillar. And then I would use bits of information from that blog all week long to promote that blog and drive traffic to my website. If you're not blogging or vlogging or creating any type of large content pieces, you can choose a pillar of a day, but you can also do a pillar of a week or a pillar of a month. You have to go in this section with what feels intuitive to you, what feels good to you, what is less of a barrier to get you started. and what's going to help you most create those posts. So here are actually my themes that I would use. So I would only post Monday through Friday. On Monday was mini goal Monday. I would have everybody declare what is their mini goal for the week. And I would give examples like meditate for 5 minutes a day, or walk twice a week for 10 minutes, or just stand outside in the sun for 5 minutes, or maybe drink an extra glass of water when I first wake up in the morning. So really super teeny tiny micro goals. And I would have people, say, hey, what are your mini goals? And then often we would check back in with them and see how they were doing on those mini goals if they declared one. On Tuesday, I always released a new blog. So my social media post for that day was announcing the blog itself. Wednesday was a self-care post, and it would lead back to the main topic of the week. So let's say I wrote about chronic hives or hives and Hashimoto's, and what are triggers for those hives. And sometimes stress can cause, your inflammatory buckets to overload. And so I might talk about stress, and then I might offer them a couple teeny tiny things that they can include to help with self-care to help reduce inflammation a little bit. Thursday, I would always do a ninja tip. So a ninja tip, it would be a tip from a previous blog as a way to continue to drive traffic to my website. Because if I just got a new follower this week, they haven't seen any of my other blogs. So it's a way for me to kind of introduce some of my older blogs. And then on Friday is an engagement post, because social media loves when people engage with your account. And it would be something like, it's Friday and it's summer, leave using a GIF only. Tell me how excited you are about the weekend, or using emoji. How are you feeling right now in your Hashimoto's journey, or something to that effect. So you always want to make sure that you're doing something each week engaging as a way to get comments or get more traffic on your post. And then make sure everything is on brand. So everything should have your colors, your logo. If each week to week you're not using your logo, that's totally okay, as long as all of your social media posts are using your brand colors, because people will start to relate those colors to you. Okay, so this is really important as well, is you want to make sure that you set some conversion goals. So if you're just posting, but you're not checking back to see how the posts are doing, or you're not really understanding what you want to achieve by posting on social media. So often we'll say, I want to get followers, or I want more clients, or I'd really like people to join my group coaching class. But those aren't really, we talk about clients with SMART goals or really specific goals, or, how to add action steps to goals so that we can make sure that, one, they're holding themselves accountable, but two, we're also making sure that we're helping them get closer and closer to their goals. We should be doing the same thing with our business, but often that doesn't happen. So you want to set some goals for what your social media strategy is. It can be, add 15 new followers every 30 days as a way to increase visibility. And I will do this by posting on social media 5 times a week. And I will write 4 new blogs in the next 30 days, and I will share them on X social media platform. So you want to make sure that you're using that strategy to tie into your goals. Another example would be gain 1 new client every 45 days from social media. You would need to know where clients are coming from. So hopefully as clients come to you or they sign up for strategy calls or consultations, you are asking, how did you hear about me? Where did you come from? That way you can know, okay, well, this one came from social media. Great. That's my 1 client in 45 days. I have met that goal. Like I said, most people post at random, and it's not really a strategy. So a strategy is, we have our pillars. First, we need to know where we should be posting. And then we have our pillars, and then we have our themes. You can go with themes, you can go without themes, but you definitely want to make sure that you have your pillars. And then we have our goals and how all of those things are going to feed into building our business, which is the most important part. And then you need to track those goals. If you set the goals and you do the things for the goals, but you're not checking back to see, did I meet those goals? Do you really know if your strategy is working for you? Probably not. So if your goal is, every 30 days or every 45 days, at the end of that time frame, you should be checking back to make sure that you're hitting that goals. I had, for myself personally, I created these really elaborate Google Sheets because I love Excel, that I would fill in every month, and I would check to make sure how many new followers I got, what were my top performing posts, who were the top followers, which posts did I make get the most likes, which posts did I make get the most comments. That way I could understand which posts most people enjoyed. If I created a post that I thought, oh, this is going to be a great post, and then when I look back after 30 days and literally nobody interacted with it, then it probably wasn't as great as post as I thought it was. It was good to me, but it wasn't the type of information that they wanted to see or what they needed. So you want to make sure that you're tracking these things. You can create a Google Sheet. You can write it on a piece of paper, whatever works for you. You can keep it, in a long Word document where you just kind of keep tabs of, am I meeting my goals? Which posts are doing well? Which posts are not doing well? And how can I alter my strategy so that I can continue to build my business? So if you set your goals at 45 days, every 45 days assess and change your strategy as you need to. Okay, so content calendars. These are just a really easy way to start to batch your content, to start to put out what you're going to post out there. This saves you time. This saves you a lot of hassle and headache, because I hear from people and they get tired. They feel like social media is a time suck. Not only that, they just jump on and they get really distracted, which happens to the best of us, myself included. But it's a really great way for you to determine what you're going to post, when you're going to post it, and so that you can spend a little bit of time creating everything in advance, so that you are not sitting every day thinking, what am I going to post on social media today? I got to come up with a post, or, oh shoot, it's 5 p.m. I didn't post anything. Let me just share this thing I found real quick. So we want to make sure that we're planning these out ahead of time. And if you're doing your pillars and your strategies, you should be planning them. But a content calendar is just an easy way to plug in what you want to talk about so that you can batch your content. I used to do this with blogs. I know blogs is not what we're talking about, but I used to batch my blogs. So I did a blog, 52 blogs a year. And sometimes I would reuse my blogs, because after your blogs have been sitting there for about 4 or 5 months, they get a little stagnant, so you can refresh them and reuse them. So I would put out 52 blogs a year, but I would write blogs like months in advance. If I had a day off, I would write, maybe 3 or 4 blogs in that day, and then I'm almost done for the entire month. So anytime I had a little space, I would knock out a blog, get it ready to post, or schedule it to post. And then when I had time, I would do the next one. So batching content really saves you a big headache when it comes to determining what you're going to post. So you can print out a calendar. If you have like a day planner, you can use that, or you can just pull up, just a blank calendar and post or print it out on your printer. I point back here because my printer's there. You can print it out on your printer and you can just go through. You can write your pillars in one corner, your themes in each day that you want to post. And then you can think, okay, this is my pillar for this week. How can I tie this theme into this pillar? Oh, I saw this. I want to write about this, or I want to post this, or I think that this would help because my client that I just saw 2 weeks ago is in my audience, and they asked me this question, and I thought it was a really good question. So I'm going to post about that, or I'm going to talk about that this week. So you can kind of get those in advance or start working on them in advance. Like I mentioned before, it's helpful to have theme days. Long form content, you'll hear people call this, and I just want to make a note here, long form content or macro content. Long form content is a blog, a video blog like a YouTube, a TikTok video, a podcast. Those would be your long form content or your macro content. Your short form content or your micro content is what you use from that bigger content. So like I said, for me, I created a blog a week. I use that blog topic to create all the posts for the week. And everything I did pointed back to that blog. If you want to read more about it, click here. You can see the blog as a way to drive more traffic to my website. If you have a podcast or you do a YouTube or you do TikTok videos or whatever it is, you should embed those into your website and then share the link from your website. But you use that long form or that macro content to create all of your social media posts. If you don't have a long form or macro content right now, that is totally okay. Just stick with your pillars and themes. When the time is right for you, when you feel like you're ready to venture into creating long form or macro content, start slow. You have to do a blog every week. You can do a blog once a month, and then you can increase it to twice a month, or you can do a YouTube video once a month or twice a month. Videos should be short, blogs should be long, but you want to create your posts and schedule from there. It is helpful to your followers and others to see what type of content they're creating. So once you know this is why you want to ask your audience or your ideal client, who do you follow? When you're looking for health information, who do you go to? Because you want to see what type of posts they're creating that are getting the most traction. You're not going to copy those posts. You're just going to use them for inspiration. If you see that every time this person posts a self-care post, it doesn't get a lot of traction, that doesn't mean that you don't want to post self-care posts. It just means maybe you need to take a different approach in how you talk about self-care to your potential clients. Or every time somebody posts about, like, for all the people out there that focus on Hashimoto's. So anytime that they would post anything about these are the labs that you should be asking for from your physician, those posts always got a ton of traction because people never really knew what to ask for. And they felt like they weren't really getting, enough support from their physician or their endocrinologist. So then I would post, well, these are the labs that you want to ask for. My labs that I thought were important were different than the other people because there's other things that I also want to look at. But I would post, these are the labs that you want to look at. And I would post them often. Sometimes I would post a full, here is your list. Sometimes I would just focus on a lab. This is why you should ask for your methylmalonic acid when you are going to your physician. And this is why it's important for somebody with Hashimoto's. Or you want to get your 24-hour urinary iodine, and this is why. And if they say, no, we're not going to do 24-hour urinary iodine, a serum iodine is okay. It's not the best, but it is helpful and supportive to your health journey. So you can break it down that way as well. But you never want to copy anybody else's posts. I've had people do that to me, and it's not a good feeling. But you want to see what other people are doing so you know what's working and what's not working. There is a lot of scheduling software out there that you can use. Some of it's free and some of it is paid. You can actually schedule a post right from Facebook. So if you want to schedule to a Facebook group or a Facebook page, you can do it right from Facebook. So you don't actually have to use any third-party software. Hootsuite is a really popular one. They have a free option that you can schedule quite a bit with the free option, and they do have a paid option. Later is another one. Later is it's tailored a lot towards Instagram, but you can also do other social media platforms on Later. Buffer is also one. They have paid and free. Social Oomph is one. A lot of people don't know about Social Oomph, but it's a pretty good one. They have paid and free. And then Canva only has paid. Canva is what I used. And I have to say it was probably my favorite one. I've done Facebook, I've done Hootsuite, I've used Later and Buffer and Social Oomph. And Canva is probably my most favorite one. You have to do a Canva Pro account in order to get their scheduling software. Why I like it is because most often if we're creating social media posts, we are creating those posts in Canva, right? We're creating the images that we want to use. If you can do it all in one to save you time, that's what I liked about it. You got a little content calendar and you would click on the date and then you would create a new post and then you would decide where you want to post it to. So it really saved time for me. That's why I liked it. But if you're just starting out or you don't have a ton of clients, even if you're 10 years on and you don't have a lot of clients, you don't really want to invest a lot of money into social media scheduling, a lot of the other options that are free will get the job done. Okay, I gotta move my video here so I can see. So analytics. So you always want to make sure that you look at what your analytics are so that you can see what's working and not working. So this goes back to your goals. If you have a website, you should have Google Analytics set up. If you don't have Google Analytics set up, when we're done here, Google how to set up Google Analytics and set up your Google Analytics. If you have analytics set up and you don't look at analytics, I would spend a couple of hours just poking around analytics and getting used to understanding what it is, what you can track on there. So if I am, there's a lot of really cool stuff aside from which sites are most people visiting or which links on your website are most people coming from. You can look at where in the world the majority of people are coming from. You can look at gender. So if I am targeting women, but the majority of my traffic is men, I need to look at my strategy. My strategy is not working. If I am targeting specifically women between the ages of 40 and 55, which is the most common range of when people get diagnosed with hypothyroid or Hashimoto's, but the majority of the people looking at my website are in the 20 to 30 range, either people are getting diagnosed a lot earlier or my strategy is completely off. So it helps me to understand if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing and if I'm hitting the mark when it comes to my audience. But you can also look at, are most people looking at your website from a mobile version or a desktop version? For me, about 75% of people look at my website from a mobile version. So I spend a lot of time making sure that my website is mobile friendly. All of my blogs, all of my images, everything needs to be mobile friendly. And then I want to understand what is my greatest referral source. For me, my greatest referral source is always Facebook. And that's because I have a Facebook group. We're going to talk about groups in a minute. I have a Facebook group where I spend a lot of time posting content and building know, like, and trust with a group of women that have Hashimoto's. So that would make sense for me that my largest referral source comes from Facebook. If I spend all of my time in this Facebook group, but I looked and my biggest referral source was Pinterest, then I have a disconnect in my strategy. And I should be spending the majority of time on Pinterest, making sure that I'm actually posting updated content on Pinterest pretty regularly. You can also see how people come into your website and how they click through the different tabs and where they end up and leave. So it's a pretty cool, analytics is really neat. It seems really overwhelming. The first time I looked at analytics, I just like fell off my chair. It was like, I don't know why people think I can use this. But the more you log in, the more you use it, the more you can understand how you can learn how analytics feeds into your goals and your strategies, or how it gives you the answers to understand, are you meeting your goals, and how do you need to alter your social media strategy to make sure that you're reaching the people that you are intending on reaching. Facebook groups. Facebook groups are a super, super, super awesome way to build a community. Your Facebook page, because of algorithms, will not always get shown to the people that follow you. So you could have 20,000 or 2,000 or 20 people that follow you on Facebook. You could have, 20,000, and you might post a post on your Facebook page. And when you look at it, it says seen by 200 people. And you're thinking, well, that's not really good. I've got 20,000 people following me. Why is only 200 people seeing it? And it's just because of the algorithms. So Facebook a couple of years ago went back and said, we are prioritizing friends, family, and groups over pages or business pages. So, and you also might have noticed that when you scroll on Facebook, if you scroll on Facebook, that all of these pages or local restaurants or businesses or things like that that you have liked and followed, you may not always see their page in your news feed. You actually have to go to the page. You'll see some every now and again, but your groups, the groups that you're in, the groups that you're active in, you're going to see them come up in your feed pretty frequently. And sometimes you'll get notifications for them as well, even though you haven't really turned on notifications from them. So the focus of a group is to bring in your audience to say, here, this is me, this is my little community that I've created, and I am here to support you. And what you're doing is you're building that know, like, and trust factor. The groups need to be really specific to your ideal client. Vague groups are not going to build connections. So if you have a group, the Healthy Eaters Club, that's not really, I mean, it's very vague. People might join it. People might post every now and again, but you can't get really specific into their struggles in a very vague group like that. So in a really vague group, you might post things like, what's the number of vegetables you should consume in a day? Or here's a fun recipe to try, or the importance of water. That is really vague versus this is why you get hives with Hashimoto's. You might have noticed that you constantly clear your throat. Have you noticed that with Hashimoto's? Here's why. Here's what you want to think about when you're sitting there clearing your throat. Are you stressed? Did you just eat something that your body didn't necessarily agree with? How are you sleeping? So going kind of through the things that might cause it, because people are thinking, wow, I do. My throat's really scratchy. I clear my throat all the time. Like, oh man, she really gets me. So you want to make sure that the group that you create is super, super, super specific to your audience. And this kind of goes back to that very first slide of, you have to have a really good understanding of your audience. When you start out, you might have a vague understanding of your audience, but the more that you ask questions, the more that you interact, and the more that you look at those goals and those analytics, you will start to understand your audience more, so that you can then go back and change your strategy, so that you can change your themes or maybe alter your pillars to better serve them. Because the more that you can let them know, I hear you, I get you, I understand you, and I can help you, you're going to start to build more of a community. The people are going to feel better about interacting with you. They're going to feel better about taking information from you. And eventually, when they are ready, they're either going to book a strategy or a discovery call, or maybe an initial consultation, or if you're trying to promote a program or a group coaching, maybe a synchronous or an asynchronous course, you will now have an audience to promote that to. A group does take time to grow, but it really is worth it if you nurture it. When I started my group, I launched it January 10th of 2021, and I launched it with 100 people, and I was super ecstatic. I was like, yes, I got 100 people. I was so happy. And then it kind of slowly grew. It's up to almost 4,000 members now. So a year and a half on, it's up to 4,000 members. And I have not paid a single thing to get those people. It's because of how I named it. And we'll talk about naming it here in a second. It's how I named it. Because when people have a health problem and they want to support or they want to find a support group, for me, my audience is primarily on Facebook. So if your audience is primarily on Instagram, doesn't mean that you can't have a Facebook group. You just want to make sure that you promote the heck out of it on Instagram, so that your followers on Instagram know where to come to get more specialized support. Same thing with Reddit. You can open your own Reddit forum and gain followers that way. So it doesn't have to be on Facebook. If you're super duper anti-Facebook, you can totally do it on Reddit as well. And then for another option is you can set up a second profile. So a profile that is separate from your personal profile that is friends and family. You would have to use a different email address. So you could create a second, like for me, I could create a second Sunny Brigham, and I can use that to, friend people. I would get clients that would friend request me. And one of my boundaries is I do not accept friend requests from clients. So my personal page is my personal page. And I don't allow friends or clients to become friends of mine on social media. But if I wanted to create a profile similar to a business page, but a profile, and then I would just post my information there and people could friend request me, that's another option. It doesn't always go as well as having a specialized group, but it is an option. The upside to that is if you feel like you hop on social media and you get lost in the sauce, that will keep you out of that sauce. Okay, so if you're going to set up a group, you want to determine your niche and your ICA, or your target market and your target audience. You want to have a really good understanding of who you want to serve, how you want to serve them, and how you're going to get that information across to them. When you select the name for your Facebook group, the keyword should be in the first 2 words of your Facebook group. So if you are going to focus on fertility, something related to fertility should be in that first 2 words. If you're going to focus on diabetics, autoimmune, celiac disease, bloating, hormone imbalance, moms with picky toddlers, whatever it is that you want to focus on, you just want to make sure that those keywords are in the first 2 words, because when people go in, and you can try this, when you go into groups and you search in Facebook you're searching for a support group, or you're just searching for information, and you type in those keywords that you're looking for, those groups or pages that have the first 2 or the keywords in those first 2 words are going to show up first. The ones that are more active are also going to show up first. So it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the number of people that have followed the page or joined the group. It comes up with names and then level of activity. So if you only have 20 people in your Facebook group, but you're in there posting every single day, and you're answering questions, and you're building rapport with these people in your group is super active, and it's probably going to be shown to other people that are also searching for it. You can advertise your group on your website, on your profile summary. So like on my personal Facebook page, you get like a little 1-sentence snippet about yourself. I would just put nutritionist helping women with Hashimoto's, and then I put a link to my group. So if I was in another Hashimoto's group and I answered somebody's question and they're like, oh, wow, she really knows what she's talking about, and she looks at my profile, they're going to see that I run a free Facebook group and then join that way. You can send out to your email list. You can do blogs, you can do flyers, you can share it with your clients. You can, anytime you do a networking event or a talk or a promotion or a webinar or anything like that, you can just talk about your free Facebook group often to get word of mouth out there. People will also invite other people as well. So the more that people are talking about the group, the more likely that you're going to continue to grow your group. You can kick it off with a challenge. That's a topic for another day, but challenges are really great ways to kind of bring in an influx of people. You just want to make sure that you're creating consistent content in there. Because I had a Facebook group, I rarely posted to my Facebook page. Rarely did I ever post to my Facebook page, because I knew often that wasn't really going to get shown to people. So I put all my time, energy, and effort into my Facebook group and growing my Facebook group, and it was pretty successful. And if you're not sure what they want, let me go back. Oh, I can't go back. What happened? There we go. Ask them what they want. What do they want to learn about? I used to ask that all the time. What do you guys want to learn about? Drop a comment and let me know what topics you're most interested in. Or here's a quick survey. Can you tell me, just answer the questions on the survey. And sometimes the survey would be like, how long were you diagnosed with Hashimoto's before you actually, started taking control of your health? What type of medication are you on? Do you feel like you get support from your physician or endocrinologist? So even, a couple of years on, I would still ask these types of questions to continue to learn and grow about learn and then grow information about my Facebook group. And as Danielle stated before, lives are important. Your face, your name, and your personality are a big part of your business. If you're not out there letting people know, this is me, I'm here, this is what I do, I can help you, they want to feel like they know you. This is that know, like, and trust. People want to feel like they know you, that they are your best friend, so that they get that warm and fuzzy and come to you as the person that's going to help them. It shows your audience who you are, what you're about, what your work ethics are like, who you are as a person, so that people start to feel good about coming to you for nutrition support. Lives are also prioritized on social media. So the more you do them, the more your profiles are going to get shown. Determine how many lives that you want to do as part of your strategy. If you want to try one once a month, once a week, twice a week, once every quarter, whatever feels good to you to start, but I would encourage you to make it a goal to start doing some lives. They do get easier over time. Even today, and I'm going to be honest with you, I like talking about these things and I like presenting, but they make my anxiety go up. Like, I'm sweating so bad right now, but that is me. And it happens. I've been doing lives for 5.5 years. In the military, I gave so many presentations. It's insane. And every time I am drenched in sweat afterwards, because it just drives my anxiety up. But I still do them, right? People are like, oh, but you seem so comfortable and natural. And it's like, well, if you notice, I'm really talking fast because I'm super nervous and then I'm sweating, and that's why I wear black. But the more you do it, the easier they do get. I can't promise you're not going to sweat, but they will still get a little bit easier. A great way to practice is on your profile, on your personal profile. You can create a private Facebook group just for you. You used to have to invite another person. I don't know if you still have to invite somebody, but you can invite a parent, your spouse, a partner, your best friend, and just say, hey, I invited you to this group. Do not come into this group. It is mine. And then when you're in there, it's only you. You can go live in the group. You can practice in the group all you want. You can make sure that your setup is good. You can make sure that you're comfortable, but you can practice making eye contact. Like right now I'm staring at the camera. And then if I look like this, I'm looking at my slides. So you want to make sure that you're making eye contact, because the person on the other end will feel, especially in a live where there's no slides, the person on the other end will feel a little bit more of a connection. You can decorate your background how you want. You can, lighting is important. I'm using a window right now, and I feel like that's pretty good. But anytime you do any type of lighting, you want it behind the camera to make sure that you get the best. And then have an outline and practice some more. So that will help you feel a little bit more comfortable when you're doing lives. Valerie said, so should we be showing our face? Yes, you definitely want to show your face. You want people to get to know you. You want people to see you and hear you and start to see like your little mannerisms and stuff, so that they can start to know a little bit more about you. And again, feel that warm and fuzzy, build that know, like, and trust with between you and all of these potential clients that are watching you. Danielle said it's a good detox regimen. It is. Yes, I'm currently detoxing. Yeah, so you definitely want to practice. It does get a little bit easier. It will feel very daunting, but just remember, in that Facebook group, nobody's watching you. It's a private Facebook group with you and you only, and nobody is watching you. You are your own worst critic. I still can watch, well, I don't watch any of my lives. I don't watch my lives. I don't watch back any of my recordings, because I will pick myself apart, and that's not healthy. So I just kind of go with it, and what happens, happens. If it goes great, it goes great. If it doesn't, then it's something for me to work on in the future. Valerie says, do you ever find it challenging to keep a line between business and professional with what you share? Do you mean like business and personal? Like a line between, yeah, okay. So that's a good question. And I would say for me, it's really easy, because it's not a problem that I have. I tend to be a pretty private person as it is. So like I go through things all the time that my family has no idea about, because I just happen to be a private person. So for me, it's not really a hard thing to share, or to to do these lives or to have these groups. Like I said, I created boundaries and I stick to those boundaries. So a boundary for me is no clients are ever on my personal social media whatsoever. It's only friends and family or acquaintances that I've met along the way. And there's a lot of nutritionists and other kind of networking connections. But I don't have any clients. So I would say that if that's a concern for you, I would definitely create some boundaries that you feel good about. Like another boundary of mine is I don't take friends or family as clients. That's not, I did it once. It was not it wasn't good for me. And so I don't take any friends or family as clients. So you want to create those boundaries, and then make sure that you stick with those boundaries. Some things that I do share is, like I'm in Texas and it snowed last year. It actually snowed 2 years in a row, which is not super common. So last year we called it, and I'm sure everybody calls a snowstorm this, a snowmageddon. But it was really horrible here. Like people were without power for 4 days, and we are just not equipped for that. If I was in North Dakota, sure, totally, that should be expected, but we are not equipped for any of that down here. And so I shared in my Facebook group, like what was going on. And I showed them pictures of the snow and stuff like that, because it gave them a glimpse into my life without sharing anything personal. I would share things about my kids. My oldest son was in the Marine Corps. He just got out, but I would share like, oh, my son's in the Marine Corps. Isn't he cute? Here's a picture of him in his cute little uniform. So I would show those things. but I wouldn't share things like, oh, my son just broke up with his girlfriend of 2 years. He's really sad, and I'm trying to support him as a mom. So I think it's okay, to share a little bit about you and who you are, and that will come through with, how you talk and like, obviously I talk with my hands a lot and I'm a little goofy at times. And so people start to see that through my lives. And that's why I think lives are really important. Shanna, and hopefully I pronounced that correctly, Shanna or Shana, please let me know, Shanna. Can you clarify the Facebook business page versus Facebook private group uses? So they kind of work the same way. You can post on your Facebook business page, and you can create a group attached to your Facebook business page. And sorry, I know we're a little over time, but I just want to answer this question. So you can post on your Facebook business page, and you can also create a group attached to your Facebook business page. Shanna, perfect, excellent. And then you can post in that group, or you can post to the page. I don't think that you need to do both. If you're going to have a group, I would put all your time, energy, and effort into that group, because by and large, that's where most people are going to be active. And that group is going to get shown into the news feed most frequently. But if you have a page and you're posting on your page, I would go live on your page as much as you feel that you can, because that is going to allow your page to be shown in the Facebook feed. I think a page is helpful if you're going to work the page, meaning you're going to post it, you're going to do lives, you're going to be active on the page, but you have to remember that not all of those followers are going to see your page. But the people in your group have a higher rate there's a higher rate of them actually seeing the post that you made in that group than a post that you made on your Facebook page. So that's why I opted for the group over the page. But I worked a page for a long time before I ever decided to create a group. You can have both, but if it comes down to putting your time, energy, and effort into one or the other, I would definitely put it into the group. I would attach that group to your page. So on your business page, you can create a group under that page. I would totally do it that way versus your personal profile. That way it's tied to your page. But that's kind of the difference between the two. Hopefully I answered your question. They're used the exact same way. Just the benefit of one or the other is one gets seen more than the other. I would make it private. So Jennifer asked, do I make the group public or private? Hands down, I would make it private. Private just means that other people can't see what's posting in there unless you join the group. You have to join the group to see what's in the post or to see what's being posted in the group. If you make it public, then people don't have a sense of privacy. So if they post a health question in this group, all of their friends can see that health question they just posted in the group if it's public. If it's private, they can't see what they post in the group. Again, they have to join to actually see in the group. And then in the group, this is just a tip. We're not talking about it today because I could do a whole other thing on Facebook group. You get to ask questions of people when they join groups. You've probably joined groups and had questions that you had to answer. I would ask for their email and add them to the list. Add them to your email list, give them a handout or a guide or a freebie or something for joining the group. And now you have somebody on your email list. So you're growing your Facebook group, you're growing your list at the same time. Okay. So I'm not seeing any other questions. Again, I apologize for being a few minutes over, but thank you so much. This was fun.
Thank you so much. This was fantastic. Everyone who attended, I will send out the slides and the recording later on this evening. And thank you. Thank you everybody for joining us. And thank you so much, Sunny.
Thank you. You guys have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.